How to share the screen. The Academy is on. I will for some time.
Dear devotees, welcome to you all. Shri Shri Guru Gauranga Jayata. This book reading, not just book reading, but to get to know the charita of Shri Srimad Gaur Govinda Swami Maharaj. And he always insisted, Maharaj always insisted that we should know what Shastra is and we should follow Shastra. So in order to know what Shastra is and how to live Bhakti, Shri Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj Charita can really give us the light we need. And there is Tattva Jnana also that is given in this book, when good fortune arises. So on this occasion of Shri Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj Tirobhavati Day, we are very grateful. We feel very grateful. Any other word than that may not be suitable, because somebody who is not qualified, if they get to have something very precious, all that we can say is we are disqualified, like a beggar. But this seva is given to know the charita of Shri Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj and the teachings of Gaur Govinda Maharaj, to bring us closer to our Gurujana, the Acharya Varga, starting from Srila Prabhupada and all the disciples of Srila Prabhupada, all our Gurujana that are now on the planet, and all the Acharya Varga that are not manifested in the planet now, to Nitai, to Gauranga and Sri Sri Radha Krishna. So to get us closer to all these personalities in service, we are hoping and praying that this book reading of When Good Fortune Arises will be of light for us to walk. Okay. So on that note, we will start the reading of this book, When Good Fortune Arises. And as we already posted in the WhatsApp group, this book has the following contents. I'm going to read out so we know what we are going to get from this book. So we will look for them. First of all, when we get to know about the early childhood days of Shri Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj, we will come to know what the life of a Bhagavata is, how a Gaudiya Vaishnava life is, how Shuddha Bhakti life is. We may not have an experience of it now because of the place and time that we are living in. But when we know about Maharaj in this book, when we read that, so we will get an experience, knowledge of how a Bhakta is supposed to live, a Shuddha Bhakta. And after that, we will see the Guru Nishtha of Shri Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaja to his revered spiritual master Srila Prabhupada, and disciples of Srila Prabhupada and Srila Prabhupada's mission. After this part, we will get to know more about all we need in Bhakti, Shuddha Bhakti, all of us, the Gaudiya Vaishnavas. What does faith mean? What does it mean by Sharanagati, surrender? what is Sadhu Sangha and the Tattva Jnana of Nama Tattva, Radha Tattva, Gaura Tattva, Prema Tattva, Rasa Tattva, Guru Tattva, Jiva Tattva. These are so important philosophical points. Without the Tattva Jnana, Rasa Swadhana will not be steady, deeper, and incomplete. So that Tattva Jnana is available here in this book. Also, there will be information about what is Siksha, what is Diksha, especially in Gaudiya Sampradaya, and information about Dhamma, especially in Jagannath Puri. All these subject matters that we have just gone through, they give us a solid philosophical foundation that we need, an understanding that we need. And on that strong foundation, then the rasa, bhakti rasa, will be built and will stay stronger. So that is why we are reading this book, When Good Fortune Arises. So on that note, we will go ahead and start reading the book. And we'll start with the pranam mantras in the book. I'll start sharing the screen, and then we can do the pranam mantras. After that, we will hear about what Sri Radhana Swami has mentioned about this book. Whoever is on Zoom, if you are able to see the screen, you may please take turns to read this. This is more of a book reading, right? And when it gets to pranam mantra, then we'll go ahead to it. So yeah, I can read the first one and somebody can take the next one. So His Holiness Giriraj Maharaj, he's saying that I treasure every word of When Good Fortune Arises about the life and teachings of Sripad Gaur Govind Swami Maharaj. For they bring us close to Srila Prabhupada. Maharaja's sweet dealings and encouraging instructions attract us to Guru, Gaura, and Govinda. And his sharp words pierce our hearts and cut the material attachments and misconceptions that keep us away from them. I'm eternally indebted to Sripad Gaur Govind Swami for his perfect example and instructions, and to his disciple, Madhavananda Dasa, for bringing us closer to him. Somebody else can please go ahead, the next one. You can unmute everybody. Because this is a book reading, we can unmute everybody. We're trying to unmute so all of us can do the reading together. Yeah. Right? Yeah. You may please unmute. Yeah. Whoever chooses to read, you may please unmute and then do the reading, please. The next one.
Hare Krishna. Gaur Govind Maharaj was an amazing person. On one side, he was like a great sage, but at the same time, he was like a completely innocent child. Raidas, Italy. Gaur Govind Maharaj's books are very important for our society. He will live forever in the form of his
books.
That's
by Radha Govind Swami.
Radha Govind Swami. Yeah. Gaur Govind Swami is our eternal well-wisher and friend. He is a bandhu, friend of anyone who wants to be a Brajavasi, resident of Vrindavan, and serve Radharani as a Manjari, especially in the mood of nourishing and assisting Radharani in her Vipralambha, mood of separation. Everyone in the world should have a friend like Gaur Govind Swami by hearing his sacred teachings and his tapes and reading his realized books. If we hold his hand and follow his teachings, then we will meet him again in Vraja and thus renew our friendship with Gaur Govind Swami, Vraja Bandhu, Mahanidhi Swami. One of Gaur Govind Maharaj's missions in ISKCON was to show devotees who at that time were beginning to leave to other Gaudiya Mat Vaishnavas that everything that one needed to become Krishna conscious was in Srila Prabhupada's books. He wanted to inspire Srila Prabhupada's disciple to go deeper into Prabhupada's teachings and to become more and more absorbed in Krishna consciousness. Shivaram Swami. Maharaj sat on the bed and I on a chair, and we spoke about bhakti. The level of conversation was deep, and I could immediately understand that Gaur Govind Maharaj was not an ordinary Vaishnava, that his level of Krishna consciousness was a lot deeper than I had been used to in my regular association. Parth Sarathi Swami. The phrase, when good fortune arises, perfectly portrays the time I spent with Gaur Govind Maharaj. To come in contact with a pure devotee through any medium is incalculable good fortune. And therefore, in a very transparent way, Sriman Madhvananda Das is extending that good fortune by revealing the essence of Gaur Govind Maharaj's munificent heart in this wonderful book. From the core of my heart, I wish to thank Sriman Madhvananda Das for sharing Gaur Govind Maharaj's association with all of us in this most wonderful way. Niranjana Swami. I could see that Gaur Govind Maharaj had so much knowledge of Shastras. On one hand, he was a renunciant, and on the other, he had realized knowledge of the Shastras. Later, Gaur Govind Maharaj left this world speaking Krishna Katha in the Holy Dham. Jai Pataka Swami. Gaur Govind Maharaj told me that he wanted to train the preachers. Much later, after I started listening to his tapes, I heard how in New York, he gave 3 points regarding why he preached the way he did. One was to show how everything is in Prabhupada's books. A second was to train the preachers. And the third point was that he wanted to keep devotees from leaving ISKCON. When I heard him talk like this, I immediately made a strong alliance with him. I thought, oh, this is a genuine servant of Srila Prabhupada. He really has a mission. He has thought about it. Sachidananda Swami. Equally heart-touching as his teachings is the story of Gaur Govind Swami's life. In a sense, there is no distinction between his life and his teachings. After all, a saintly person teaches through his personal example and his life. His life is his teaching. I congratulate Gopalji Publications for bringing out this 2-part work on the life and teachings of Srila Gaur Govind Swami Maharaj. Bhakti Rasamrita Swami.
Thank you. Thank you, Mataji. So those are all the words of all our Gurujana in ISKCON currently on the planet. Bhakti Rasamrita Swami, Sachinandana Maharaj. As Sachinandana Maharaj was saying, Srimad Gaur Govind Maharaj, he said this again and again that his purpose is this threefold. One is to show that everything is in Srila Prabhupada's books. That's why Maharaj used to go deeper into the Srila Prabhupada purports and bring out and then make his way to the Acharya's teachings and to the Shastra through Prabhupada purports like that. And the second was to train the preachers to know the Tattva Jnana, the Rasa that is given by the Acharyas. And the third one was to see that the devotees are in ISKCON and they get all they need from A to Z. Sadhana Bhakti to Shuddha Bhakti, everything in ISKCON. So these were the 3 missions of Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj. And this is how he was serving his revered spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. And so these are the words of the Maharajas. And next one was, yes, I was really looking for this Mangalacharna. Yes, we'll do the Mangalacharna and then we'll do the Radhana Swami's words were also there, beautiful words. I think we'll get that after Mangalacharna. We'll do the Mangalacharna and then we'll move on. As I do the Sanskrit verses, you may please take turn to read the English translation. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Gaur Govinda Swamin iti namine. Somebody please read the English one.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto Sri Srimad Gaur Govinda Swami Maharaja, who is very dear to Lord Krishna, having taken shelter at his lotus feet.
Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Presthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swamin iti namine. Namaste Saraswata Devim Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Prabhupada, who is very dear to Lord Krishna, having taken shelter at His lotus feet. Our respectful obeisances are unto you, O spiritual master, servant of Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami. You are kindly preaching the message of Lord Chaitanya Deva and delivering the Western countries, which are filled with impersonalism and voidism.
Gurave Gaurachandraya Radhikaye Tadalaye Krishnaya Krishna Bhaktaya Tad Bhaktaya Namo Namaha.
I offer my obeisances again and again to Sri Gurudeva, the moon-like Lord Gaura, Srimati Radharani and her abode of Vrindavan, Sri Krishna and his devotees, and to the devotees of those devotees.
Yeah, Nitai Gunamani Prabhu, you may continue to read the rest of the English translations followed by the Sanskrit. That way there is no break. Shri Krishna Charanam Bhoja Madhupebhyo Namo Namaha Kadanchit Ashrayad Esham Swapi Tadgandha Bhag Bhavet.
I offer my obeisances again and again to the lotus feet of the devotees, who are like bumblebees at the lotus feet of Sri Krishna. By the association of devotees, even a dog-like person can develop attraction to the sweet aroma of Krishna's lotus feet.
Isn't that beautiful? By the association of devotees, even a dog-like person can develop attraction to sweet aroma of Krishna's lotus feet. That's the potency of the Shuddha Bhaktas. Madgavirapi Gopala Svikuriyat Kripaya Yadi Tadaiva Sampaya Pitva Hrishyeshu Statpriya Janaham.
O Gopala, please accept and maintain the cows in the form of my words. Please experience the pleasure of drinking the milk from those cows and inspire others to do the same. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's concluding comment on the 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam.
Madasya Marushanchara Khinnam Gam Gokulon Mukim Santah Pushnantva Imam Snigdaha Karnakasara Sannidhao.
This text is like a cow trying to go to Vrindavan, but which is suffering on the desert of my mouth. As a lake gives shelter to a cow wandering in the desert, may the saintly devotees, whose ears are like a lake, give nourishment to the sick, to this text of mine. Srila Krishna Das Kaviraj Goswami, Sri Govinda Lila Mrita 1.9.
Ye deshe vaise gaurangera ganam Udva bahu kari vandanon sabara charanam
With unpraised arms, I worship the lotus feet of Gauranga Mahaprabhu's dear devotees, wherever they may reside.
Hanachena haibena prabhura jata dasa sabara charana vandon dante kuri ghasa.
With straw in my teeth, I worship the lotus feet of all the servants of Mahaprabhu that ever were in the past or that ever will be in the future. I worship all those persons who used to be devotees but have since left the path, and all those persons who are not yet devotees but who will become devotees in the future.
Brahmanda tarite shakti dhare jane jane eveda purane guna gaya jebashune.
In the Vedas and Puranas, it is said that each of the dear devotees of Sriman Mahaprabhu has the potency to deliver an entire universe.
Mahaprabhura ganasabha patita pavana thai lobhe mui papila ino sharanam.
The devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu are deliverers of the most degraded persons. Being greedy for that deliverance, this sinner surrenders unto them. Deva Ki Nandan Das Thakur, Sri Vaishnava Sharana, verses 5-8.
Yara nama nahi kare brahmate vandana shata paranama kare aparadho marjana.
If by mistake I did not mention someone's name, I offer my respectful obeisances to him 100 times. In that way, I will wash away my offense to him. Srila Lochan Das Thakur, Sri Chaitanya Mangala verse 1.42.
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha.
I offer my respectful obeisances unto all the Vaishnava devotees of the Lord. They can fulfill the desires of everyone, just like desire trees, and they are full of compassion for the fallen souls.
Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Now, those are the Mangala Charans. I was looking for, this is forward, yes, we will start here. But I was also looking for the Mangala Charana of Sri Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaja. For some reason, I did not find it there. I want to do it here. Yes. Gauragraganya Ganagotra Galoruharam Gauranga Gudhatamagopyada Kalpavriksham Gopala Gadharatidam Yatisimha Gaura Govinda Deshikavaram Satatam Namami. And the meaning is, this Mangala, this Pranam mantra is actually composed by Sripad Hariparshad Prabhu. And Prabhu has very nicely depicted Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj in this Mangala Charan, and we'll see what the meaning is. To the brilliant garland around the neck of the league of prominent associates of Lord Gaura, Gaura Agraganya Gana, Gotra Galoruharam. So in that neck, to the desired tree bestowing the topmost secrets of Lord Gauranga. Gauranga Gudatama. Here Gauranga, Guda is confidential. All the confidential subject matters of Gauranga. the mind of Gauranga, the Charita of Gauranga, at a very deeper level, at a very confidential level, is revealed by Sri Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj. And that's what it means, Gauranga Ghudatama. Gauranga Ghudatama, Gopya the Kalpa Vruksham. So like a Kalpa Vriksha tree, Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj is sharing all the confidential information of Gauranga. And what else? Gopala Gadha Ratidam. Gopalju is the deity of Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj. And when we read the book, we will see that how many pastimes Maharaj had with Gopalju deity, even from his childhood. So deity was not something like just an Archa Vigraha not communicating, not like that. For Maharaj, Gopalju was always with him and was communicating with him. To that Gopalju, Maharaj had very Ghada-rati, deep attachment. And it is very evident as we read the books, we will know. But here the Pranam Mantra is saying that Gaur Govinda Maharaj would give that kind of rati to Gopala, attachment to Krishna. Dham is giving. So Maharaj is giving us that Ghada rati, Krishna rati, deep attachment to Krishna. That's what Maharaj is giving us. Yati Simha Gaura Govinda Deshikavaram. Simha, if we hear, when we hear his katha, we will see it is like roaring of a lion. When he's on Vyasasan, many of the Maharajas have mentioned also. Like when he's on a Vyasasan, he's like a simha, roaring the tattva, giving the katha. And when he's off the Vyasasan, Maharaj was very simple, like a child, like that. So here, Yati Simha Gaura Govinda Deshika. So to this lion-like sannyasi, Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj, Varam Satatam Namami, I always bow down to that lion-like sannyasi, Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaja, who is like who is like a brilliant garland around the neck of the league of Gauranga's devotees, and who is giving us Gauranga Ghudatama, confidential subject matter of Gauranga, and who is also giving us Ghada Rati to Sri Krishna, to that lion-like sannyasi, Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj, I always bow down. This is the Pranam Mantra of Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj. Yeah, with that, we have heard the Pranam Mantras. Now, we can read this foreword. Somebody please take a turn to read this foreword.
It was in 1983 when I first met His Holiness Gaur Govind Maharaj. That event is forever etched in my heart. It was night and Brahmananda Swami, and I traveled to an isolated jungle area in Bhubaneswar, where some crude construction had begun. I wonder, where is that saint that I have heard so much about? I yearned to meet him. We were led to a mud hut. Inside the walls were raw mud, and as was the floor. A straw mat and a low table were the only furniture that I remember. Sitting near a lantern, immersed in writing, Gaur Govind Maharaj put down his pen and rose to greet us. In that setting, his smile, sweet words, and embrace made me feel that I had been transported into Lord Chaitanya's divine pastimes. With tears in his eyes, he exclaimed his good fortune to be able to live in that mud hut where his beloved Guru Maharaj, his divine guest, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, had chosen to reside for 16 days. His voice choked with emotion as he explained that Srila Prabhupada had asked him to translate all of his books into Odia language, to build a temple in that jungle and to preach Lord Chaitanya's message all over the world. My heart melted, witnessing a living saint and a scholar ornamented with genuine simplicity, humility, and deep devotion. When good fortune arises, is a priceless gift to the world. It brings us into the incredible life of Gaur Gobind Maharaj. We are given entrance into his childhood in a simple village of Odisha, where he was surrounded by kirtan, harikatha, and devotion to his beloved Gopal. He would cry for Srimad Bhagavatam, and he slept with it embraced to his heart. The fire of yearning for Krishna blazed in his heart. Through his education, career as a teacher, and family life, that fire blazed more and more until at an appropriate time he walked away from everything, taking nothing with him, to wander the world as a homeless seeker. After roaming from the southern tip of India, Kanyakumari, to the Himalayas searching for a teacher, his heart's yearning at last found refuge at the feet of Srila Prabhupada in Vrindavan. The love between these two saints, a perfect guru and a perfect disciple, is a model that will inspire the world for generations to come. There is much that has been misunderstood and much to understand in the life of Gaur Gobind Maharaj. I believe that it is critical to understand his life and teachings through the lens of unity in diversity. It is a lesson that can open the doors of Srila Prabhupada's grace to unite sincere devotees with all of their differences and create a family that will attract the world. His background and profound realizations were unique in ISKCON, and at times the differences resulted in conflicts. Srila Prabhupada and our previous acharyas explained our Siddhanta without contradiction. Yet, due to difference in time and place, their explanations will be seen to differ. According to the personal nature of advanced devotees' love for Krishna and their compassion for the suffering souls, that one truth may be understood from different levels and various perspectives. Gaur Gobind Maharaj shared his realization with the fearless passion of his pure love and always with profuse scriptural references. He went so deep with such bhava in anything he did or said. It always struck me that even when challenged by his juniors, he never had a trace of malice or envy. He would instantly forgive anyone, even his critics, because he was everyone's well-wisher, whose life was exclusively dedicated to serve with love. Nothing was for himself. Everything was for his beloved Gopal and for all of us. For the service of Srila Prabhupada, Gaur Gobind Maharaj could be as soft as a flower or as hard as a thunderbolt. Whether he lived as a beggar in a snake-infested jungle or he traveled the world being honored by thousands, he tasted the sweetness of Mahaprabhu's grace. A particular subject in this book that I feel is beautifully revealed is how Gaur Gobind Maharaj strived with all of his soul to assure the world that Srila Prabhupada's books and teachings were perfect and complete. It was a special calling in his life, and he was especially empowered to fulfill that call. One morning in Mayapur during the GBC meetings, I met Gaur Gobind Maharaj on a veranda. I bowed down and pressed my head on his feet. When I rose, he smiled broadly. There was a mystical sparkle in his eyes, like a child in anticipation of something wonderful. Maharaj, he explained, I am so happy to see you. Then he became very serious. The words he next spoke come from so deeply in his heart. Srila Prabhupada is very pleased with your service. Thank you very much. His face lit up with an ecstatic smile and he tightly embraced me. To this day, I feel that encounter to be a treasured blessing, and even in trying times, its remembrance brings me strength and encouragement. That same evening, I was at his bedside, holding his gentle hand as tears of separation streamed down my face while singing the prayers to the departed Vaishnavas. In the ecstasy of speaking of Sri Radha's infinite love for Krishna, he had passed into Srila Prabhupada's loving embrace. My sincerest gratitude to Madhavananda Prabhu for his unfailing love and dedication to his Gurudev, Gaur Gobind Maharaj, and for blessing the world with this book, wherein we can all be blessed to see when good fortune arises. Radhanath Swami, 1st of October 2011.
Those are the words by His Holiness Radhanath Swami. So I think with the blessings of all our current Gurujana on the planet and their words and the Mangalacharna prayers, now we are blessed to get into the book, start the book, right? So we'll go through the introduction also. In the words of His Holiness Radhanath Swami, as we have all heard, Maharaj has beautifully described about not only about Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj, but about ISKCON during those times and how everybody was trying their best, like unity in diversity. Everybody was trying to please Srila Prabhupada in their own capacity. And in the words of Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj, his mission was about those three things that we have already heard a while ago, to show to all of us in ISKCON that everything that we need from Shuddha Bhakti, from Sadhana Bhakti to Shuddha Bhakti, everything is there in Srila Prabhupada books. That's one thing. Second thing is to train the preachers, to preach to the preachers, especially the Tattva Jnana, Shastra and Tattva Jnana. That's why there is the disciples of Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj, they have compiled all the lectures of Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj, and they have this by this name Tattva Vichar, beautiful one. So that's the second one. And the third one is to see that everybody that is there in ISKCON will get all that they need to practice bhakti from A to Z. Yeah. So those are the that is what Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj's contribution is as Guru Seva to Srila Prabhupada in ISKCON. Yeah. And now, introduction, we want to see. So this introduction, this is by Sripad Madhavananda Prabhu. Sripad Madhavananda Prabhu is a dear disciple of Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj. He's a Dhamvasi, and his good wife, Krishna Kund Mataji. They are such a wonderful couple. So they live in Orissa, in Jagannath Puri. And Sripad Madhavananda Prabhu, he compiled all the information, put everything together, and gave this in the form of this book, When Good Fortune Arises. So Madhavananda Prabhu, he is giving some introductory words here. And this is what we are going to hear from Madhavananda Prabhu. So far we have heard from many Gurujana from ISKCON. And also we just heard from His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj. Now we are going to hear from Madhavananda Prabhu, who is the author of this book. And then we can enter into the life story. So let's hear from Madhavananda Prabhu, beloved disciple of Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj, and then we can enter. Yes, please, somebody.
Srila Gaur Govinda Maharaj, in the worship of Sri Guru, speaks of the plight of some bumblebees that tear their wings and suffer in futile attempts to get a sustenance from the fragrant but nectarless thorny Ketaki flower. Fortunate among those bees are the ones that obtain nectar as well as relief from their suffering in the shelter of the cooling lotus. Similarly, it is only when the white lotus of good fortune arises that the suffering soul obtains the shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Guru. Sri Guru Charana Padma. So beautiful. When good fortune arises is a brief essential look at the life and teachings of Srimad Gaur Govinda Swami Maharaj. As mellow fragrance permeates exquisite flowers, so the good fortune obtained through the shelter of the lotus feet of Krishna's elevated devotees is found throughout the life of Gaur Govinda Swami Maharaj.
Yeah, and here, when good fortune arises, we have many different understandings of what good fortune means. But according to the Shastra also, the good fortune is to have even a Lavamatra sadhu sangha, sadhu, to meet a sadhu. So it is only when the white lotus of good fortune arises that suffering soul obtains the shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Guru. So obtaining the shelter of the lotus feet of Sri Guru, that is the real good fortune. Yeah. And then yes, we will move on.
This fortune is exemplified in his attaining shelter of his Guru, Srila Prabhupada, the search from whom carried him away from a loving family and a secure career to wander about India as a penniless mendicant. It is found in his teachings, in which he repeatedly stressed the principle of always hankering for such shelter. It is seen in the lives of the hundreds of devotees whose good fortune arose in the form of Gaur Govinda Swami's shelter and guidance.
Yeah, thank you, Prabhu. So here, please see the tone and intensity of and the gravity of Sri Guru's position here. Here it is made very much clear. Fortune, good fortune is equal to only the shelter of Sri Guru. And here Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj's good fortune is when he met his Sri Guru and attained shelter from Srila Prabhupada. And also, please note, repeatedly stressing this principle of always hankering for such shelter. So for all of these Acharya Varga, our Gurujanas, this is their umbilical cord. This is their lifeline. This Guru Nishta, this shelter that they have with their Sri Guru, that is the portal, that is the channel. That is their umbilical cord. And through that, all that they need, all that they have to do in the spiritual journey will automatically happen. So we are already seeing how such a gravity, a matter of gravity, this Guru Tattva is, how essential and pivotal. Yeah. Yes, please. Continue, please.
It is natural that before we consider the teachings of a person, we first want to know something about them. As Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur once said, I don't read the book, I read the author. I first see the author to see if he is authentic. For that reason, before presenting the teachings of Srimad Gaur Govind Swami Maharaja, we thought it appropriate to begin with a look at his life. However, in attempting to write about such a personality, a great obstacle looms before us. A conditioned soul perceives the world through the very senses that bind him to it. Bind him to it. The attempts of fallen persons such as ourselves to comprehend the behavior and activities of great souls only grants a two-dimensional.
Yeah. Before we move to the next one, this sadhus, they are not on, Annamaya Kosha. Then comes the Pranamaya Kosha. These are the layers that we have on the soul. The most external one is Annamaya Kosha. And beneath that is Pranamaya Kosha. Beneath that is Manomaya Kosha. That is the mental one. Yeah. Mental speculation and everything. And beneath that is Vijnanamaya Kosha, intellectual platform. And after that is Anandamaya Kosha. So for most of us, we are stuck at the external level, at the most Manomaya Kosha, and at the best, it can get to Vijnanamaya Kosha. So for us who cannot penetrate to such deep layers of Anandamaya Kosha, we will not be able to understand even if we are seeing those great personalities. This reminds me of something that I've heard about Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj. I've heard Sri Padmadhananda Prabhu saying that one time, Madhvananda Prabhu was traveling. He used to travel with Maharaj. And one time he was traveling in the flight, and Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj was sitting in the flight. And Madhvananda Prabhu was saying, he was just sitting beside him. And he could see that Maharaj was sitting there beside him, but he was not exactly there. He was deeply absorbed in something. And Prabhu was saying that Maharaj was just staring straight. And then Prabhu thought, okay, maybe that might be a TV screen in front of that, the passenger up front. But it was not the TV screen. It was nothing that Maharaj was actually staring at in the flight. And that staring with the eyes open, that deep state, whatever that is, that lasted for 2-3 hours. And if I'm recalling that right, that state of consciousness with the eyes open, but in a very deeper state. So that's all we can understand. That, yes, this sadhu is in a deeper state. This doesn't seem to be a regular consciousness. He's not really watching or staring anything that is there in front of him. This is something different at a deeper level going on. That's all we can understand at the most. From Manomaya Kosha, without any mental speculation, with our intelligence, that's all we can understand. This sadhu is perceiving something deep. That's all. That is all our limitation. But what actually Maharaj was perceiving, those sadhus, that Sharanagata Bhaktas, what they actually perceive in their consciousness is not reachable to us. We are very much limited. I wanted to mention this example, and that I thought we will understand Madhvananda Prabhu's words better in light of this example is given. So Mataji, if you could start from the attempts of fallen souls, please.
2-dimensional. The attempts of fallen persons, such as ourselves, to comprehend the behavior and activities of great souls only grants a 2-dimensional, black and white perception taken through the filtered lens of our conditioned senses. There is a Bengali saying, Vaishnava chinte nai devara shakti. Even the demigods, with their high qualifications and powerful sensibilities, cannot understand who is a Vaishnava. The story of Krishna's entry into the wrestling arena of Kamsa is frequently used by our acharyas to describe how great personalities are perceived differently by diverse persons. Just as Krishna is identified by various people according to their respective qualifications to see and approach him, so too Krishna's dear devotees are perceived in many ways by many individuals. Amongst devotees, some will see Sadhu Vaishnava in a formal institutional way as a manager or leader of many persons within a particular sect. Others will see him or her as a scholarly preacher, yet others may consider him or her as a counselor providing solutions to their problems, yet others are as an intimate friend. None of these conceptions are wrong. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Prabhupada has described there are different ways in which different persons whose faculty of spiritual consciousness has been aroused judge about their own requirements. Every enlightened person is privileged to have a sight of Sri Gurudev in accordance with his particular mode of judgment. Sri Gurudev is that real entity who thus reveals himself to the view of enlightened souls in a variety of ways.
Yeah, Mataji. Yeah, we'll pause here. So here, all of us, we have our Sri Gurus. But what is it different? It's the same Sri Guru that we all of us have, our Sri Guru. And that Sri Guru has many disciples, right? So here, the Sri Guru is one person. There are many disciples. But not every disciple would perceive Sri Guru as he is, or in this case, in our Janava Mata, as she is. Based on our level of purity, based on our depth of the desire to be purified and engaged in the seva, based on our sincerity, we will be able to perceive our Sri Guru to that extent. Some disciples may just associate with him externally. If the spiritual master is famous or popular, then some of the disciples may just get stuck at that level, seeing that spiritual master as a famous personality and just associating with him and taking some pictures and then identifying at that level only, at the level of that fame that Gurudev has. Some other disciples may be wanting to see how they can actually please Gurudev. So they would want to see what Gurudev wants and then just do it, popular or not. So they are a little more deeper. And deeper than that are those disciples who know the heart of Sri Guru very well. And even before asking, they would actually do that for Sri Guru. So these are the different levels of relating and understanding to with one's Gurudev. So all of those understandings are not wrong. Particular Gurudev being famous is not wrong. Yes, that is true. But the same Gurudev has his heart to fulfill his Gurudev's desire. So his teachings, somebody who is focusing on those teachings, they are also true. And somebody else who is wanting those teachings to be spread and practiced and striving towards that depth is also true. So all of these things are true at various levels. And it is up to the disciples' sincerity and purity that they will be able to access different depths of Sri Guru. Yeah, in case of Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj too, and in case of Srila Prabhupada or any Mahajana like that, they have many disciples. As we have just discussed, each disciple is able to access their Gurudev to a certain extent, proportional to what their desire is and what their purity is. Yeah, you may please continue, Mataji.
Where does that leave us in our attempts to speak about the lives of the saints? The Vaishnavas may even question our motives in writing. The poet Devaki Nandan Das has said, Bandana karite moi kata shakti dhari, tamo buddhi dose moi dambha matra kari. What power or ability do I have to glorify the devotees of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? Being engrossed in ignorance, it is only out of pride that I attempt to do so. In writing about the life of our revered spiritual master, Sri Srimad Gaur Govind Swami Maharaj, we have tried to be conscious of our own inescapable biases and limitations of vision. We wanted as far as possible to allow the readers to meet Gaur Govind Swami on their own. For this reason, we have endeavored to present Maharaj through his own personal recollections, as well as through some collected memories of various persons who had interactions with him. The material in this book is only an introductory sample from the life and teachings of Sri Srimad Gaur Govind Swami Maharaj. It is in no way a complete or even an extensive presentation. We have only interviewed a small percentage of the devotees who interacted with Maharaja and have only taken a few drops from his many writings and nearly 3,000 lectures. In short, there is much, much more which could be contained herein. We hope that this book will inspire some of the followers of the beloved son of Mother Sachi. Tathapi mukhera bhagya manera ullasa dosa kshami moa dhame karo nija dasa. Even though I have no speaking power to glorify the devotees of the Lord, still I am feeling great pleasure in my mind. Please overlook my faults, O Vaishnavas, and make me your servant. Shri Guru Vaishnava Kripa Prarthi Dasa Anudasa Abhasa Madhavananda Dasa Bhuvaneshwar Dham, Odisha.
Those are the words of Sripad Madhavananda Prabhu. What can I say? I have nothing else to say. Clearly, there is no qualification at all, even to read or understand this book. But the mercy of the Acharyas is very abundant. Srila Prabhupada said rightly, as we all know, when somebody asked if our devotion is because of our qualification, that Srila Prabhupada said that he has given that adhikar. So Srila Prabhupada gave us the qualification. In that way, we don't have any qualification to read or understand these Mahajanas, but hoping and praying that they will qualify us, so we may be able to receive what these Mahajanas are trying to give. Not trying to give, they are giving what these Mahajanas are giving. So we may receive that prasad, honor it, take it into our heart, so that can flow out as bhakti in the thoughts, in the words, and in the deeds. So with that hope, with that prayer, and with that only qualification, which is their causeless mercy, we will be starting this book. It's 10 o'clock now, but we will just read the first page here and then pause. That way we have started this book. Yeah. Somebody, please.
A family of Kirtaniyas. Sri Srimad Gaur Govind Swami was born as Brajabandhu Monik on the 2nd of September 1929 in the Jagannathpur, a small village in what is now the Jagat Singapur district of Odisha. His parents were Pata Devi and Ishwar Manik, strict Gaudiya Vaishnavas who never engaged in meat-eating, illicit sex, gambling, or intoxication. His mother came from the Giri family of the village of Gadaigiri. The girls were all Gaudiya Vaishnavas.
The Giris were all
The Giris were all Gaudiya Vaishnavas, well known for their expertise in Kirtana and for their worship of the deities Sri Sri Radha Gopalju that had been passed down in their family for over 350 years. Braja Bandhu's maternal grandfather Baurigiri was famous in the area as a Paramahamsa Vaishnava. He was constantly chanting the Hare Krishna Mahamantra and worshipping Gopal.
Thank you, Prabhu. I think we'll pause here. This, we got a little taste of what this book is going to give. The introduction itself is the parents and the ancestors of Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj. They are from Giri family of Gadagiri. And this Giri family, the foremost one, the ancestor, his name was Gadagiri actually. In search of this Gadagiri, who is the ancestor of Sri Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj, who was called as Rajabandhu before he got the sannyasi initiation. So Rajabandhu, their ancestor is Gadagiri, and in search of this Gadagiri, in response to the prayer of this great soul, Gadagiri, Gopalju, he came from Vrindavan to Orissa. So that's the beginning of this book, and we will continue reading in the next session. We'll keep you posted when the next session will be. So we will pause here, being very grateful to this prasad that we have gotten today. So, Srimad Gaur Govinda Maharaj ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Sri Gopalju ki jai, Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda ki jai, Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you so much, Mataji.